I felt like I was missing out on you, but the reality is comparison had me missing out on me, who I am in you and who you made me to be. I was forgetting I have my own wings, letting jealousy take over as I sat on the ground watching other people flying. I felt like my heart was dying, but the reality is it was just trying to come alive in its own creativity the way it was created to be. I felt like I was part of a crowd that didn't get to experience the weirdness of your presence, but the reality is, I was looking to experience a weirdness designed with someone else in mind, and I wasn't leaving room for my own version of weirdness to shine. I felt like I was close to the edge of crazy, like a drug addict not getting her fix, but the reality is, I don't want to detox from you, and I know I never have to. I felt like I was fighting through isolation, but the reality is, out of all of creation, you have chosen humanity, and you thought it important enough to record for all of eternity that you put the lonely in families. I felt like an outcast, disconnected from everything and everyone, but the reality is the veil had already been torn, and you cast out everything and everyone trying to win a heart that's already spoken for. I felt disconnected in everything, but the reality is I was running from opportunity to let my present look different from my past, hiding my face from the blast of your life-giving breath, allowing fear to convince me death was inevitable. I felt like all this must have been my own doing, but the reality is all I have to do is nothing but bask in the glory of the King of Kings, allowing your rivers of mercy to wash me clean. Focus on the real thing until the counterfeit is hilariously underwhelming. I felt like I was far from you, but the reality is you were closer than the skin on my bones, so it just goes to show feelings are simply invitations to grow into the likeness of Jehovah himself. I've longed to feel your tangible presence, misunderstanding the wind for a metaphor, but it's your very breath breathing heaven into my skin, my bones, my soul. I've longed to hear your audible voice, selective hearing silencing the words in life and song spilling out of everything. I've longed to see your physical face, overlooking the you beaming out of everyone around me, created in the very image of your being. I've longed to feel your arms surround me, not realizing all I had to do was wrap the arms I have around the broken, the lost, the hurting. I've longed to have you near, perceiving my perspective clear, but I need you to give me ears to hear and eyes to see. I want the real thing. No more custom orders, custom made to look like my Jesus. No carbon copies, copied images of perfection dressed in shiny packaging, imitating the authenticity of my Jesus. Compromise no longer an option. I will live abandoned, my heart remaining wide open so you can have your way in me, my Jesus. Giving up my right to understand, would you take my hand? Lead me to the real thing. Lead me to the promised land, my Jesus. Sold out for the gospel, your blood in my veins. You've revealed my identity, given me a new name, exposed and disposed of all condemnation and shame. Forever my heart will sing your praise, my Jesus. Created to be loved by love, I will humbly receive. Stay seated at your feet, staring up into the eyes of my Jesus. Oh, that you would be so good, and yet you are better. You've loved me endlessly. You've annihilated every chain that bound me to an identity I didn't think I could escape. You've taken my worries, turned them to feathers, built my wings, and taught me to soar. You've opened my eyes to see the dreams you placed in my heart before I was formed. You've walked into my mediocre, revealing yourself more than I could ever ask or imagine. Never turning back, I will run, walk, crawl forward, knowing nothing will ever compare to the glimpse I've seen of heaven. Oh, that you would be so good, and yet